I'm Tas and I would like to welcome you to No Bunts, the casual baseball show here on the Athletic Network. And boy, we're keeping it cash today. We got a cricket man beside me right here, although dressed in full baseball gear.
I had to dig out all the baseball gear I had today, Tassie. I picked up this Yankee shirt at Yankee Stadium last year, and this is my 10-year-old son's Blue Jays hat. He was born in Toronto. He's lived here most of his life, but he's very much a Toronto Blue Jays fan. So anyway, I've got Aaron Judge on the back, so I haven't got a gavel. All rise. That's what they say, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I've done my research, you know.
Yeah. No doubt. The international man of mystery, Leigh Ellis, bringing it top to bottom. That hat, just a bit small on you. But I appreciate it. And the man making the magic happen. It's JD, of course.
Hello. Hey, guys. Sorry we're late.
No
That's
worries.
on me.
You don't have to apologize. It's the summer. We're allowed to be late.
Yeah, that's true.
It feels good to be back in the Classic Factory. For me, it feels great. Thanks to everyone tuning in, whether you're tuning in live, you're one of the bleacher creatures out there, or you're tuning into the podcast afterwards. We appreciate it. I think, Leigh, we should jump right in because we've got 5 top 5 lists. So
yes.
This might take a bit. We've got some great lists. You're going to tell us your favorite things about baseball?
Absolutely. I'm very excited about this. I've been actually waiting for this moment, secretly waiting for this moment because baseball's a fun game. I like baseball. I can't sit through the entire season, but I enjoy a good game of baseball. So I'm gonna tell you about what I've appreciated about it.
Listen, that's why we started this show in July as well. It's 162 games is a lot of games. I used to be able to do it, but it's changed now. Anyways, we'll get to your favorite things about baseball. We will get to the best closer entrance songs out there, top 5 list, because there's been some doozies going around recently. We'll give you the top 5 teams to root for if you're a casual fan the rest of the season. We will also get to the top 5 things about playing softball, because I've joined a team, baby. I'm excited about that. But first, let's start with the 5 best things in baseball this week. Yes! And hearing JD's stings and intros always gets me amped. The first best thing in baseball this week, you're wearing an Aaron Judge shirt.
Yes.
The first best thing in baseball for me is that the Yankees, they don't look like they're all that great. There's a crack in the foundation of the Yankees. Now, is that the best thing in baseball? For me, yeah, it is. We're going to be honest with you here on No Bunts. I don't want the evil empire just running the show in baseball. I just do not want that. It sure looked like they were earlier in the season. Leigh, they were 61-23 to start. That would have been the best Yankees team ever at that pace. They have slowed down. They're 10-17 since then. They're tied for the best record in the AL with the Houston Astros. So they still have a very good team, but even though they're on pace for 100, it looked like they were on pace for like 116, 117. Yeah. So I like that they've slowed down. I got to be honest. 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And then last night, a 13-inning game against the Seattle Mariners where they lost 1-0. I know we came in here and you said, did you see that? 1 run in 13 innings of baseball?
I mean, the real story for the Yankees for now, from what I'm seeing here, is they've basically locked up the AL East, haven't they? Really,
they're good. The Jays will not catch them.
No, so, I mean, maybe they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit in that sense. But really, it's whether or not Aaron Judge is going to crack 60-plus homers, and he's on pace for that. And that's why I sent you that message last night. I was hoping Judge maybe would have 2 or 3 last night so we could really dissect it and see how close he's going. But a 13-inning 1-0 game. Oh, that's tough. That's tough to get through out there in Seattle. And he went 0 for as far as home runs anyway.
Well, yeah. Listen, the diehards were enjoying the pitching matchup.
Right.
And that's why the Yankees are good. They've got Garrett Cole as their ace. If you go 13 innings and you only give up 1 run, everybody was successful. The thing I like about Yankees fans is that on the other side of the diamond there, Luis Castillo pitched 8 scoreless innings against them. He is the guy that they wanted to get at the trade deadline, but the Seattle Mariners were able to nab him. So the Yankees, their fans crying. Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that they didn't get one guy. They tried to get Luis Castillo. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for them. And he is so good for the Seattle Mariners, especially against the Yankees. He's been great in his last few matchups against them. And we'll get, again, to the top 5 teams that you should be rooting for the rest of the season. The Mariners are on that list.
Yeah.
I'm excited about them. But just to go through the Yankees, and you say they may have taken their foot off the pedal, but they've got some injuries too.
Yes.
The guy that they acquired instead of Luis Castillo, Frankie Montas, coming off shoulder inflammation, but he looked good in his. I shouldn't say good. He looked like he can throw. He can still throw hard in his first start with the Yankees on Sunday. Still throwing about 98, but he got beat up. That's understandable. He just got there with the Yankees. That's understandable, but Michael King is done for the year. Their reliever, Giancarlo Stanton, Anthony Rizzo are banged up. Monday, I don't know if you saw this, Lee. First inning, DH Matt Carpenter was up. He's a left-handed hitter. He swung. Ball went straight down onto his back foot.
Yeah.
And broke his foot.
I don't understand how that doesn't happen more often because of the ricochet going straight down. I mean, they have sort of reinforced shoes somewhat, don't they?
Well, they have like shin pads. They have like the floppy pad that kind of goes over the shoe. There's a lot of protection down there.
But the amount of times I sort of see that and the ball shoots down, I'm surprised that it's not a more common injury. But it must be like getting shot in the foot, like at that speed. So yeah, that was a blow for them. But
and he stayed in the game. Baseball players are tough. He stayed in. He stayed in. Next pitch, he struck out, and he said, "Luckily, I didn't make contact because I would have had to run on that broken foot." But it's a kind of a sad story because it's not a typical Yankee that they paid for. He's sort of a comeback player of the year favorite. He was on a minor league deal with the Rangers to start the season. He's at sort of the latter part of his career, and he's also trying to bring back the mustache as well. Comeback mustache of the year. He's one of those guys.
I thought Yankees weren't allowed to have any facial hair.
Oh, you're going back.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing of the past.
Is that when since Steinbrenner has passed? Because I remember Johnny Damon was the big one who came from, the Red Sox of all teams to go to the Yankees, and he had the big facial hair, and he had to clean it up. I even had to cut his hair, didn't he?
Right, yeah, trim.
It was unrecognizable in a Yankees uniform.
I guess that was a Joe Torre rule. Back then, I think.
Oh, was it Torre? I thought it was Steinbrenner.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, the Yankees, now managed by Aaron Boone.
Yes.
They had a 5-game losing streak. First time they were swept this weekend. The St. Louis Cardinals are flying up the standings in the NL Central. Aaron Boone called a team meeting Monday, and they got a win. They sort of rallied around Carpenter going out of the game. Andrew Benintendi, who they picked up at the deadline, starting to perform. Josh Donaldson. But the Aaron Judge story... Listen, I don't want the Yankees to win. I think the Judge story is still compelling. Every night you're watching, as you said.
Yeah.
He hit his 44th on Monday. He's still on pace to break the Yankees record of 61. And no one has hit 60 in Major League Baseball since the steroid era.
Yeah.
Since, you were probably watching baseball.
Absolutely was, yeah. I mean, in 97, 98, when it was Sosa and Mark McGwire, that was actually great for baseball because even though people suspected what was going on, people were watching because they were in such a great race there. And again, I was in London at the time, and everyone was talking about it because it was like they're going to set records, they're breaking records, and it seemed like every night one of them was socking a dinger. And it's great to see Judge because I know Judge has got he's a massive guy. He reminds me of Alex Rodriguez at the plate. He's just that big guy, and when he hits them, like it sounds great. He's got a beautiful swing there, so I hope he does get it. It'd be great to see because
No doubt.
I think baseball needs that sort of story again, because you're probably again in that AL East, you're not really looking who's going to win. It's the battle for the wild card, really, isn't it? After that, so the Blue Jays looking good there, but the Mariners are right there with them. So. It's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, and for Judge, we'll see if it comes down to the wire.
Yeah.
Again, he's at 44 to get to 60. He's got 50 games. Yeah, so, one every few games. He should... Yeah. He's still on pace. He's on pace to break Roger Maris's team record, pass the Babe as well.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen 60. Again, 2001.
And they're not going to likely rest him like in the NBA, are you? At this sort of point, you're going for that.
This is baseball.
Yeah, you're going for it. So I think I hope he plays because again it will generate the story the closer and closer he gets to that record.
Will you come on the show and knock the gavel or whatever?
Absolutely. I can't believe I didn't even prepare. JD probably doesn't have one in the house here, but Yes, I'm going to go and get one. I'm going to the Party City this afternoon. I'll see if I can pick one up, and I'll get the hair thing as well. So, yeah.
All right, let's continue with the race. The race, I said. The list here. The second best thing in baseball this week. For me, again, it's not necessarily the best thing in baseball, but the Dodgers hammering the San Diego Padres needs to be brought up because the Padres went and got Juan Soto at the deadline. And here's something you should know. The San Diego Padres are a Major League Baseball team. I think they're a forgettable team.
Yes.
We'll get to the top 5 teams you should be rooting for. I think the Padres should be one because they're kind of a hipster team. You know, JD brought it up randomly sort of after a show earlier. Oh, yeah, the Padres are a team? Hey, it's okay to forget about the Padres.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the Athletic MLB show. There really hasn't been a good reason to know that the Padres are there. They don't make the playoffs. You know, since the late Tony Gwynn was around, there's just nothing noteworthy about them. But now that they've got Soto, he came in, they won their first game 9-1. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Another new Padre, Brandon Drury, hit a grand slam, making me look smart. We had a conversation with Jason Stark last week about Brandon Drury being a utility guy. He comes in. The Padres Twitter account that night, though, not so great. When Brandon Drury hit his grand slam, their tweet was, Brandon Drury? No, that's Slammed in Drury. Sounds like something off of my fingertips. Not great. Anyways, and that's maybe why they went on a 5-game losing streak right after that. Part of that 5-game losing streak against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I bring that up because the Dodgers are the evil empire in the National League. They have the best record in baseball. They are so tough to match up against for the San Diego Padres. That was their measuring stick after acquiring Juan Soto, and they got swept. Now, Manny Machado, another part of their big three, Juan Soto himself and Fernando Tatis Jr. He was asked, "Are you worried after being swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers?" Machado said, "Worried? I'm Manny Machado." And he came back. He had a walk-off homer Tuesday night against San Fran. Juan Soto hit his first home run. They picked up a win. So they've sort of bookended 5 losses here with a win against San Fran. And, Fernando Tatis should be back. Juan Soto made a real nice catch Monday night against Petco Porch, as they're calling it, in right field, hammering that wall. So they have no chance of catching the Dodgers, like you said there about in the American League. But the Dodgers, they are absolutely stacked, and it's okay. It's okay for the Dodgers. We'll get to the Braves later on. It's okay for the Padres to lose these games because there's still some baseball to be played.
Well, they're battling with our Braves, really, aren't they, as well, for the wild card in the NL. But also, I mean, we may, right now, based on the standings, we might be looking at 2 evil empires in the World Series. I mean, that would be great for baseball, wouldn't it? Like
the monstrous markets of New York and LA.
Dodgers, Yankees, especially after the Dodgers last year fell over against our Braves. Remember? The Braves had home court home field, I should say, when the Dodgers had a much better record, and so they certainly feel, I guess, there's the revenge factor there. But the Padres scored 4 runs in those 3 games against the Dodgers. I mean, you're not going to win too many games if you're only scoring 4 runs.
Right.
But the Padres is funny because 1998, I believe it was, they made the World Series against the Yankees. And that was my first sort of foray into baseball. And I thought the Padres must be one of those, they must be one of those San Antonio Spurs teams, just always in the playoffs, always making the finals. And I'm not sure if they've been really close ever since then. So that was in the middle of the Yankees when they won 4 in 5 years, I think it was.
Yeah, wow. I had totally forgotten that.
Yeah.
They haven't won a playoff game in a long time.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that team got there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had a T-shirt. You know those end of season championship T-shirts with all the faces, the caricatures. Yeah. I had that, and I had beat the Padres. I think they swept them in the World Series.
They did, yeah.
So that was it. That was my flirtation with the Padres. I thought they were good, and it's been a while since they're back. But maybe this year they'll sneak in because honestly, this is true about again with baseball. These wild card races are pretty fun because again, you're not going to catch the Dodgers just like the Blue Jays aren't going to catch the Red Sox. But seeing how close it is now, and the Braves, I know we're going to get to them with the series against the Mets, and then the Padres getting swept by the Dodgers. That really tightens up that race. So it's exciting.
I do like the expanded playoffs of including an additional team in each league, I should say. So 6 teams in each league. I know MLB wants an additional one, and that would make 14 of 30 baseball teams making the playoffs.
You don't like 16 in the NBA, do you? So you're probably not going to like...
14's a lot.
Yeah.
But, as we're watching, as we talked with Jason Stark about the trade deadline last week, enough teams aren't necessarily going for it with 12 teams. But anyways, a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Speaking about the trade deadline, the third best thing in baseball this week, and I legitimately mean this to be true. Shohei Ohtani and all the rumors around him, it's good for baseball in a way because a lot of teams can say, hey, we got a shot at Shohei Ohtani, this freaking superstar, because he was not traded at the deadline, but it sure looks like he eventually will be. He's going to be moved, and it's sort of astonishing to think that, but the Los Angeles Angels continue to lose, and he will be a free agent at the end of next season, so 2023. We saw the Padres able to deal for a superstar in Juan Soto because they had the farm system to do it, and the GM who was willing to take a chance and empty their cupboard. So I think Shohei Ohtani will be dealt for something even smaller than that, even though he pitches and he hits. So I think he gives a lot of middling franchises hope going into the postseason. And I do think the package is going to be smaller because even Jason Stark, the incredible Hall of Fame writer, it was difficult for him to wrap his head around what kind of package are you going to have to give up for Ohtani. Soto was able to get 5 potential stars from the San Diego Padres in return. So Shohei Ohtani, you're only getting 1 year of him, where there was 3 years of Juan Soto, and this guy, I know it is difficult to wrap your head around because I mentioned Babe Ruth earlier. It is like Babe because he is obviously hitting. He's got 25 dingers himself, tied for 10th in home runs, and he's tied for 6th in strikeouts on the hill with 157 Ks. He on Tuesday night, he won his 10th game. 6 shutout innings for him, and now he's the only player. Since Babe Ruth, him and Babe Ruth, the only players in history with 10 wins and 10 home runs in a single season. The guy is a monster, and he hit a dinger along with those 6 scoreless innings.
But isn't it a failure of the Angels to be in this position?
Yes.
Because you've got 2 players. You've got an incredible pitcher and then a guy who can come out and he's, from what I can see here, better than a lot of... He's not just like it's not just gravy that he's getting these runs. He's actually a really good hitter.
Yep.
So, and again, I did some research on it and saw what the sort of trade rumors were, and they're saying they want like really good players and they want draft capital and all that stuff. They want to cash in on both sides of his skill set. Mm-hmm. But again, you're in Los Angeles. Like, this is a huge market. Shouldn't they be more focused on trying to get players around him and cashing in rather than, okay, we've messed this up and trying to have to trade him to try to get better players? Because this is another one of those situations where this is beyond baseball to see a guy who can do so many things. There's no one like that I can think of in recent times.
Zero.
That's been even close to that. So it's kind of like, I guess in some ways, a Giannis who's a defensive player of the year and an MVP. It's not quite the same, but in the sense that he plays 2 very, very good and different positions so well. And again, he's 28 years old. So I'm just sort of surprised that there's even rumors about this and that the Angels aren't saying, there's no way we're trading this guy. We're going to try to give him the biggest contract we can and in turn try to surround him with better players. I mean, they've got Trout as well and a huge contract. So what's the direction of the team there? I mean, are they saying, yeah, sorry, we blew it and we'll try to cash in our chips? Or is it like, no, we're not going to give them up so easily?
Initially, I thought that's exactly what they should be thinking. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's a once-in-a-generational player. You've got other players at the All-Star game that we talked about a few weeks ago with Trey here on No Bunts, coming up and taking photos with this guy because there is just nobody like him. Nobody. He is just an incredible pitcher and hitter. It just doesn't happen. But GMs in Major League Baseball are calculated. I mean, like you said, he's 28. They know he's going to leave. And I mean, that's what it's coming down to. It's very, very likely he's going to leave because they can't build a winner around him. So next year when he's 29, and that's the difference with Juan Soto, who's only 23, still, the next team who's going to get him, if they can sign him to a long-term deal, could get a decade of a superstar pitcher and hitter. So I know what you're saying. I guess the differences in the NBA, like, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal are getting these contracts. One player in the NBA can affect a team a little bit more. Yeah. They just because of the dynamics of the game. Then even Ohtani, who does both things so well. Yeah. So they stink. The Los Angeles Angels stink. Like the Padres, they have, even with Mike Trout, who is considered one of the best baseball players ever, very, very, very little playoff success. And they traded Rafael Iglesias to our Atlanta Braves. I'll say our. That's fine.
Hey, why not, man? Lean into the
recently at the trade deadline. So they're starting to tear it down. There's far more calculation, after talking to Jason Stark last week. There's far more calculation in the front offices, long term, to say, listen, Shohei's not turning us around. It's clear we have to do something with him. But that being said, they didn't trade him last week at the trade deadline because they just couldn't bring themselves to do it. It may come in the offseason. Probably, I think, is where it seems like that's where it'll come, because if they wait till next trade deadline, then he's a serious rental. And at least, if you trade him for him this offseason, you've got a year full of tickets to sell, because he is a money maker in that regard. I just don't want to see him end up with the Dodgers.
Well, but wouldn't it be either the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, or the Red Sox if he's a free? I mean, they're the ones who have got the biggest
as a free agent.
The biggest, they're the ones who throw all the money at him.
The Mets will get in on it. But yes,
I mean, because again, you're in Los Angeles, like this second biggest whatever market in America. Again, it's a failure on the Angels to even be in this position, I think. But what's incredible, like just looking at his stats here. 17 games he's been the pitcher where he's gone 10-7, but he's batted 107 games. Like, that's also unheard of, surely, isn't it? Because pitchers usually pitch once every 6 days or so. So this guy, when he's not pitching, he's out there swinging away, batting 256. I mean, that's just incredible to have that talent on both sides of the diamond.
Yeah, and 10-7 doesn't sound all that impressive in and of itself, but baseball's gone away from the sort of the win-loss record. Right. The ERA is still incredible at 2.68. He's striking guys out at an incredible rate. His whip, walks and hits per innings pitch, only 1.05. I will say, it sure looks like one of those high-end big market teams are going to get him in terms of free agency. But like the Padres, were able to cobble together 5 potential stars, 3 position players, 2 pitchers. There are other farm systems that have done it well that could maybe cobble something together that were in the sort of the Juan Soto sweepstakes, that could maybe be in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. That's what I sure hope, because I watch baseball and think of the sort of middle market teams. Let's go Orioles, let's go teams like that, that hopefully can make those pennant races, as you said, that are exciting now, even more exciting. So. Moving on. One thing I don't find exciting, getting to our fourth thing here in the top 5 best things in baseball this week, umpiring. It's kind of embarrassing for Major League Baseball. It's even more. We talk about it on No Dunks all the time about referees and bang plays. Yeah. In baseball, it is so slow and is so apparent when a home plate umpire misses something. So it happened this past weekend. Braves Mets I'm watching on Sunday, and whenever you tune into a broadcast now in baseball, you see this sort of the digital strike zone. Yes. It's right there. And so Spencer Strider and his mustache are pitching for the Atlanta Braves against the New York Mets. Scoreless game, bottom of the 3rd. And there's a guy on first, 1 out. He's pitching to Francisco Lindor. It's 0-1. And he pitches a strike that's in the zone. It's clearly in the zone, but the home plate umpire calls it a ball. And then there's a replay of it. The broadcast clearly shows it hit this square that we're all looking at. And it's just embarrassing for baseball. So it's 1-1. Lindor fights back, singles. Next hitter, Pete Alonso. Same frickin' thing happens. He fights back after he should be down to the count because another strike hit that digital box that we all know. He should have been down to the count. Well, he fights back, double, knocks in 2. Strider's out of the game. And so should the umpires. The umpires should be out of the game because robo umpires, literally robot umpires, the technology that we see in like tennis, where the ball hits the digital line. They're coming. Rob Manfred, Commissioner of Baseball, has said there will be some form of robo-umpires in 2024, but they can't come fast enough because it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
I'm so glad I'm here to talk umpires and referees. I feel like we're just back on the basketball.
I hear you. But not that I'm a Braves fan, but every pitch does matter. And I know Spencer Strider got off the mound. He said, "Well, those Mets, they're just lucky offensively." And I know it sort of sounded like he's giving an excuse. He said, "Well, that's great that they hit some balls. It's August. We'll see what in October because the Mets and Braves have a rivalry we'll get to." And our friends at John Boy Media, they said, "Well, you can't say stuff like that. I mean, you're admitting an excuse." But if you watch the game, it would have been a different inning. He wouldn't have been knocked out of the game, I think, if the balls are called correctly. There just is no need for that guy who stands behind that catcher to call things wrong. The umpire will be eliminated. It's totally fine. Technology eliminates jobs. We got to go here. We got to go.
I love this because what we want to see is one of the other major sports trialing things like this. Because if it's successful, then the NBA is going to look into it and try to evaluate and see where they can put it into the basketball game. If it's a complete failure, then the NBA is going to say, well, there's no need for us to even try that. We're going to have to live with the imperfections of having human referees, which again is fine. So as far as the game you're talking about in the plays, and I saw another one as well with the Blue Jays and a call that was overturned and things like that.
Whit Merrifield.
I mean,
I like that call.
The thing is, for me, it is the same in virtually every sport.
Yeah.
Like if you want the robo technology, then it just eliminates a part of the game of like, okay, down to interpretation, referees, they're not perfect, we understand that. If you're going to sort of remove something that's like traditional like that, you have to make sure you get it right. And I guess the technology, and tennis is probably still the best example, they can get those calls right virtually within seconds and everyone accepts it and moves on. And no one really, like linesmen, it's the linesmen that have been removed, not the umpire. There's only ever been one umpire in tennis, so it's the linesman's job, which was always very difficult anyway. In this, you're removing, I guess, the home plate umpire completely.
Yeah, from those type of calls.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still there to make the calls at the plate.
Yeah.
Like that Jays call.
Yeah.
But the calls that are just, there's no human error needed.
Yeah,
I mean, the difference between a block charge call on a basketball floor where Ed Malloy thinks it's a block.
Yes.
I mean, those are bang plays.
For sure.
And technology can't take that, can't replicate that subjectivity, that judgment call in the instance. So I'm not saying take them away entirely.
Yeah.
A check swing still needs to be interpreted. But yeah, the ones where you can see it, the ones where we're all watching it, the digital lines.
Well, and again, I think you have to be prepared to accept that the technology is perfect in that sense. Again, the same with tennis. Like, it may not be always 100%, but you kind of have to be like, all right, well, we all agree that if it's in that digital box, that's the strike zone. And if everyone can be on board on that. And what's interesting about this as well, and I read that Rob Manfred, he doesn't even need approval from the Baseball Players Association to implement this. And he's basically saying it's coming, not next season, the season after, in some form. Exactly what that will be is to be determined. But it's interesting that part of the collective bargaining agreement was he got this power to say, I'm getting this right. And I think a part of it is to speed up the game as well. I think that's still one of the problems baseball has, is that it's still a little bit slow and a little bit, at times, you've got to keep things moving. And this is a way to do that, where it's like virtually indisputable now, or it will be, whether or not it was a ball or a strike. So I think that is actually good for the game in that sense, but you're always going to have still people just saying, that's, the technology's awful, that's not right, it's not perfect, or if it, curves away at the last minute or something like that. But I like, as I said off the top, I like the fact that baseball is trialing this, because there's no doubt that other sports are going to watch how it's implemented and then whether or not they can pinch something or use it in their own game.
Yeah, I say I want it tomorrow, but you're right in that they need to try and work it out. They're working it out in the minor leagues. They're working out ways to speed up the game with a pitch clock, with the elimination of this shift. They're doing some cool things in the minor leagues, I think. And so I can't wait until it hurts my brain to see something literally happen. I know we see it in basketball, but it's different to see it. This is the call, but this is the wrong call, and we see it immediately.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, the technology has to be.
Yeah, so,
has to be believed that it is entirely fine.
I mean, I don't want to turn this into a cricket podcast, but honestly, like 30 years ago, the biggest controversy...
We said the cricket podcast. Yes! Yeah, we said the music would come out. Here it is.
Well, in cricket, so, you know, it like if you're running between the wickets, right?
Yeah.
If you're out of your ground and the guy throws the ball and knocks over those stumps, you're out. Now, it used to be literally the umpire's just sight.
Right.
And you've got the ball coming in 100 miles an hour and a batsman running, and they would just say, yep, out or not out. The amount of times they got that completely wrong was hilarious. So they changed. That was the first thing they did, was basically go to computer or TV review for that, and they got it right. And now it's implemented in other ways of the game as well, down to things that have been interpreted by an opinion, and they've changed. Not everyone loves it, but I think everyone is starting to at least respect that you get the call right. And so I think, again, in this instance, for that game you were talking about that had so many other implications, if you can get those calls right, I think it's worth doing. I think it's worth getting them right.
Respect to the cricket fans that understand. I'm glad we got to some cricket talk. That needed to happen.
Got more coming up later on.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and the last thing we'll get to here in the 5 best things in baseball this week, to give you just a summary of what happened. That Mets-Braves series, it was important for the top of the NL East. They ended up playing 5 games because they had a doubleheader. They needed to make one up from earlier in the season. 5 games in 4 days.
Yeah. No one, again, tell me ever that cricket's too long. I looked at this and I saw 2 scores on the one day there on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we lost them both.
Yeah.
And it was funny because now that school's gone back, I've bumped into a few of the dads again at morning drop-off. Big Braves fan out there. And he was telling me last week, he goes, we got a massive weekend against the Mets. We can't afford to drop this series or this weekend. He said this is going to have huge implications. And 1-4. The Braves went there, and I know that they play a lot of games against their division rivalries.
Yeah.
5 in 4 days, man. That's are people going to 5 games? You know, have you ever been to a game in the afternoon and then come back for the doubleheader?
Never been. I've never done the doubleheader.
Yeah.
Never. And they're separated.
Yeah, by 3 hours or something.
Yeah. And I guess to sell tickets.
For sure. Yeah.
But no. And I was watching the first one with my father-in-law, and he took, I think, 2 naps during the game because it was a 4.5 hour ball game.
He must be a Mets fan then. Yeah, is he?
No. He just had it on.
Oh, right.
No, he's a non-American, so he's not really into baseball, but he appreciates it.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to tell him, the Braves having a big series here. They're 3.5 games back going into that set with the Mets. They're now 7 games back.
Yeah.
And they still have 7 games, as you said. They play a lot of divisional games, so they still have 7 more games. 1 set in New York, 1 set here in Atlanta. But like I said about the San Diego Padres, you can bounce back. The Padres bounced back a little bit. Atlanta had a win Tuesday against Boston. An incredible Ronald Acuna slide. Oh, my God, what a slide. The athleticism. There's athleticism in baseball. That was beautiful. But it was a good measuring stick for the Braves. They still believe. They are the champs from last year. They still believe. But it was a good measuring stick. And the Mets got to feel good. They should feel like they're on equal footing with the Yankees. You talked about a potential Dodgers World Series. Well, the Mets have more wins than the Yankees now. They got to feel great. DeGrom is back. Scherzer's obviously back. And to transition here to our next top 5, Edwin Diaz. Oh, my God. The closer for the New York Mets. He ended the first game of that series, pitched 2 innings. Closers can pitch more than 1 inning. And then he ended the last game there against the Braves as well. He's averaging like 2 strikeouts per inning, I should say. He is one of the best closers in the game, and he has one of the best entrance songs in the game. And that's what brings us to our next top 5. The top 5 closer entrance songs of all time.
Oh, wow.
Top 5. Top 5.
Yes, definitely inspired by Edwin Diaz of the New York Mets. We will get to that. It is part of the list, baby. Now, I went all time. because there's a consensus. There's a decent consensus of the best ones. And I thought that they would all be in the past other than Edwin Diaz until we had a new entrant. Number 5 here is a new entrant, the Baltimore Orioles, Felix Bautista. Oh, baby, let's hear it, JD. Omar's coming! Omar's coming! I love Felix Bautista plays Farmer in the Dell. To start. It's in Baltimore, so that is amazing. But I guess Farmer in the Dell doesn't go long enough, so then he plays O Fortuna a little bit later to come in. How do you feel about this, JD, and how do you feel about him kicking off Jonathan Papelbon and the Dropkick Murphys? Because that was a good one. It fit Boston back in the day. But how do you like Felix Bautista? Respect to Michael K. Williams and Farmer in the Dell. I mean, that feels so good. And it's the Wire, so why the hell not?
And it's in Baltimore, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's amazing as I peek over the lower third here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it was very smart of them to bring in O Fortuna in because, it could kind of fall flat, but then it just explodes and the lights go. I can't believe this is number 5 looking at the rest of this list, to be honest.
Ooh.
But I'm fine with the Dropkick Murphys is pretty cool. But yeah, this is awesome.
Interesting. Are you, you didn't watch The Wire?
No, I didn't, no.
That really, that's what sparks it, man.
Oh, right.
He does it in Baltimore. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but yeah, all the rest of this list. JD, you said you're surprised that it's number 5. Mm-hmm. Baseball traditionalists and their baseball tradition of closer entrance songs will say it's really just all old guys other than Diaz, because number 4, Mariano Rivera's Enter Sandman, is probably too low for the baseball traditionalists, because Enter Sandman.
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible start to this song.
Yes. To hear, this is the best closer ever, walking out of the pen.
Yeah. There's not much else to say. I mean, this is just an incredible start to a song. It brings, like, the atmosphere, especially at Yankee Stadium there. Baller song. And, I mean, Mariano, like, he was pitching probably when Enter Sandman came out in 91, wasn't he? I mean, I know he was pitching forever.
Not quite, but yes, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's nice when they cross over in terms of the timeline. It was pretty close. I know a lot of people, the Bleacher Creatures here in the chat, are saying Mariano's got to be number 1. This has got to be number 1. It's a damn good song to come out to.
Yeah, you can just see James Hetfield there as well. Like, I'm surprised they didn't do it live one day for him. Have Metallica in the stands there just playing it. But brilliant choice, brilliant song.
People are saying too low. I hear you. But listen to the next few. We've got some good ones coming up here. Yeah, there was a good era here in the 90s and 2000s. Trevor Hoffman, Hell's Bells, is number 3 on the top 5 closer entrance songs. Another one that's, it feels good.
Little Akadaka, never heard anyone. I mean, you could have honestly chosen a few from AC/DC, Highway to Hell, Who Made Who, even for me, is a great one.
With Thunderstruck make.
I mean, that's up there as well. So there's a Back in Black as well. I think you could put it's not necessarily the song, it's just the start of it.
Yeah,
it's that big guitar off the top. So Hell's Bells. I mean, it started with the sort of bong, bong, all that as well. So it could have been the Big Ben entrance, really. But I mean, another great one, like, because the crowd's going to get into it. Everyone's going to start the little head bang. They're going to start their support for him. So it's great.
Yeah, that's a big part of it is the people in the stands. Are they yelling? Are they screaming? Enter Sandman, Hell's Bells, there's no doubt. The Farmer in the Dell, I think I had it at 5 just because, even though it's my favorite TV show of all time, I don't know if the entire stadium is getting behind it like you would for these. But if you didn't like number 5, JD, I think you hate number 2. And I understand why you're going to hate number 2. Everybody's going to hate number 2.
Yeah.
Multiple closers, because this is an old one. It's Bad to the Bone. Goose Gossage, Dennis Eckersley came out to this.
Yeah,
It's 80s, but it's got 80s written all over. It's freaking old.
For sure. I can see why people choose it. But this song to me is actually, I'm sick of this song. It's just played to death. Anytime someone's trying to say, look at this guy's a bad guy. And it's like, yeah, it's a bit cliche now. You need to find something else. But at the time, these guys were pitchers. Wasn't quite the same. But if anyone wants to bring that out now, you'd be like, is that the best you got? You know what I mean?
It depends on the character.
Yeah.
Like,
This song was always cringe for me.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, I was like, this is the most cringiest song ever. Like I can't believe it's a hit. But I get it. I mean, you know, it's.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Ricky Vaughn came out to in Wild Thing.
It was
Wild Thing.
It was Wild Thing.
Right. So, you know, it's to me, I bring that up because it's that kind of shtick. You know. It depends on the character. If you know, there's a guy in the Guardians who could pull this off. Like, there's some.
BJ Ryan, could you see him coming out to this?
I guess.
I mean, he was always like, closers have a bit of a reputation for being a bit crazy though too, don't they? Like, and I remember BJ coming out, had the long hair, he'd come charging out from the
bullpen.
The bullpen there. So I can sort of see it suiting someone like him who's a bit more embracing the weirdness and the craziness of a closer. But I just think now, if you're at a game and you heard that, like I say, you'd be like, come on, man, come up with something else.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the time right now. But I'm a historian.
Right.
Baseball. We got to play to the traditionalists here.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got only one current one so far with Felix Bautista, but the number one closer entrance song of all time is Edwin Diaz of the New York Mets because it gets people amped. And it's the trumpets.
Oh my God, this is unreal.
Yeah, you can hear. We're playing you the Mets clip of Diaz coming out. Yeah, people having fun doing the trumpet.
The air trumpet. You don't see that every day.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about songs that need saxes, more saxes. The trumpet as well, an underappreciated instrument if you can pull it off.
Totally.
And Edwin Diaz can.
Yeah, he's a Latin American player there as well, so I think it also plays into his background and
I'm
his
sure
culture
he loves
there.
it. Yep.
Yeah, so that's just great.
The Mets TV broadcast, it doesn't even go to commercial when Diaz is coming out.
Right.
They're ready for that minute, and so that's the big part of it is that the you may not like Bad to the Bone. You know, you may say Hell's Bells. Come on, Farmer in the Dell's way better than that, but the stadium is jumping in all five of these instances of Felix Bautista, Rivera, Hoffman, the Goose, the Eck, and Edwin Diaz.
And they come out when they can smell a win, so everyone wants their reliable closer to come out and shut the door, and to have that music there pumping gets him going, gets the crowd going. It's a really good thing for baseball, I think that. And Bad to the Bone, I'm like, I'm not getting up for that anymore. No way.
No. It was, you know.
I mean, I remember there's a thing on the Bad Boys Pistons, right? Mm-hmm. The Bad Boys Pistons from the late 80s that has Rick Mahorn doing the Bad to the Bone. So that just shows you how old the song is and how it was used then for like a rough guy, like 35 years ago. Time to move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, it is time to move on for us as well. We've got a few more top 5 lists to get to. We'll try and get to them a little bit quicker. Do you want to do our walk-up songs, JD? Because I know we're running long here.
Oh, no, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, yeah, this was inspired by an email, actually. So moving from the closer entrance songs to the walk-up songs, hitters walk out to whatever song they want at home, which is pretty cool. An email asked us, howdy, quick question in anticipation of No Bunts. What would you guys select as your walk-up song if you played in Major League Baseball? Would you stick with one song or change it up per at-bat? That's be tough on the audio coordinator in the stadium. Thanks for hundreds of hours of entertainment. That's from Joel in Cream City. So, Lee, what would you walk out to?
Well, so this is different to the closer song. This is our going up to bat song.
Yeah.
And this was a tough choice because I think I would like to mix it up. I want lots of different songs. But I also want to bring a little bit of different energy to the plate. I don't just want to be like, all right, I'm ready. I'm on the on deck circle there. I'm going to walk up. I want to do a little pirouette. I want to sort of get the crowd going. So I'm going with George Michael's Too Funky because, like, you want to walk out to this. Like, you're dancing up to the plate like this. You're dragging the bat along behind you, do a spin. Yeah. You take your helmet off to the crowd like, whoa, come on, like that. I mean, you want to have some fun, you know?
Yes.
You know, you
for
maybe
sure.
bust out a little moonwalk as you get there to the plate, you know, like the other team, the catcher's rolling his eyes and that, and you just do a little dance, you point to him. I mean, that's what it's all about, I think. And then the crowd's like, oh, yeah, this is a cool song. Haven't heard this for a while.
Are you going to be locked in? Are you focused?
Yeah, because the
hearing this
music
song?
relaxes you. It, like, calms you down. So you realize, like, I'm having a little dance. I'm going to have a swing the bat. It was either that or Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. I mean, that's also got a really nice, good piano off the top.
That's more of an amped up song, though, you know, like...
Yeah. I just want to go out there casually.
A song you like.
Yeah. And again, you're throwing the pitcher. The pitcher's like, what's he got that music playing for? Then you're in his head, you know? Got to get inside of you.
It's too loose, man.
You think?
It's too loose, yeah. You better hit it. Coming out after that.
Yeah, it is tough. It's way different than being amped as a closer.
Right.
Than coming up, you know, locking in, focused, being disciplined, being calm, ready to sit back on a pitch.
You're catching everyone else off guard. That's what I mean. Like, they're expecting like this macho, you know, big guitar riff, like drums banging, bass going crazy. Instead, you're just like, oh man, this guy's just like putting me in a different trance here. So
it is tough. I did go a little bit macho as well. I went number 1 by Nelly. Because I like the guitar off the top too. I think you can play it on the bat. Come out if you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Riff a little bit. But I'm cocky here.
Right.
You know, you got it. You know, point this bat at the pitcher. You ready for this?
Yeah.
And let's rock. Simple as that. I found this is a tough one. This is tough.
Yeah.
I agree with Joel. Maybe you want to switch it up.
Yeah. I think
at bat to at bat.
Yeah.
Second at bat.
I know a pretty common one is Crazy Train, isn't it, by Ozzy Osbourne? I know, like...
I mean, you hear it at basketball games all the time.
I know, like, Troy Gloss used to come out to that for the old Blue Jays. But I'm pretty sure I've heard it from other guys as well.
It sounds like it's bad to the bone. I think that's a thing of the past.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. It's not as cringy, but it sort of had that more intimidating sort of vibe behind it. But again, that's the stereotype. You want to try to mix it up and soften the pitcher up a little bit. Think he's got an easy out here.
Hey, man, I love my George Michael.
For sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get to a few more of our top 5 lists, but we got to take a quick break after it. You'll tell us what you love about baseball.
Yes.
I'll tell you what teams you need to be cheering for the rest of the season. But first, a word from our sponsors. We got Graydon Gordian doing an ad read. I want to hear Graydon Gordian talk Indochino. We'll be right back.
People don't know this about me because on the show, I'm always dressed a little more casually, but I love to wear a suit. My father always wore suits to work every day as a kid growing up. For me, it's like the epitome of men's style. But the thing is about suits, they're expensive. I mean, honestly, quite expensive, which is why I like to get suits from Indochino. I've got a wedding coming up. I felt like I wanted to spruce it up, get a little something new. I went to Indochino.com. It's incredible, the customization that you have there. I mean, it's like, what sort of lapel shape do I want? The amount of buttons that I want? You know, it's not just things like, color, style, and all of this can be made to measure. They have, stores you can go into to get it checked out, or you can easily purchase it online. This is all really helpful, really incredible, and honestly, it's all at a price that is a little bit shocking. It's like, it's under $500 for these suits, $429 for some of these suits, but it's not just formal wear like that. I understand nowadays maybe we don't all throw on suits all the time. This isn't the Mad Men era, but they've got blazers, they've got shirts, they've got other stuff that if you want to jazz it up on a Saturday night, that's fun.
You should wear a suit if you're jazzing it up on a Saturday night.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I am gonna.
And a pork pie hat.
There's nothing. It feels good to look good, my friends, that is what you get when you pick Indochino. Which is why, if you've got a big day coming up, the perfect look is no big deal with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more by using promo code NODUNKS at Indochino.com. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com when you use promo code NODUNKS.
I've been wanting to use this intro on No Brakes for a while. How well would you take care of your car if you had to keep the same one your entire life? Hopefully better than Ferrari.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we only get one brain, so why don't we treat them like we only get one brain for our entire life? Treat it better. That's why you got to get BetterHelp. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat-only therapy sessions, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Everybody needs to head to the pits from time to time, and right now our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/nodunks. That's betterhelp.com/nodunks.
Welcome back to No Bunts. We had some good suggestions for walk-up songs from the Bleacher Creatures watching live here. Javante Music said Stone Cold's Glass Break theme is a good one. Just something to start it with, the Glass Break.
Yeah.
It's a real good one. I like how it starts.
Yeah, it's sort of like a break in case of emergency type thing as well, like when the closer's coming out there.
Yeah, the closer one, sure. Hit Me Baby One More Time from Ignatius Roberto. That's pretty funny. And,
I like that one.
And actually, another sort of ironic one. Gerardo Parra, baseball player, came out to Baby Shark once.
Wow.
Apparently, Ignatius Roberto reminded us of that.
I'm guessing he's got a kid maybe, and he was trying to like have his kid watch or something like that. Maybe
It could be like what you're doing with George Michael there, just to throw off the picture.
Exactly. I think that's the way to do it. Get into their head a little bit.
Or he hates the fans.
Or he hates the person who has to dig up the music.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? Something rock, something heavy? Give me a little Baby Shark. Yeah.
All right. Another list, as we said, top five lists here on the show. This is number 3 of 5, and it was inspired by an email that I'll read. Hey there, guys. It's fair to say that I came for the basketball content and have stayed for all the other great content. It's your most recent new venture into baseball that has sealed this email. I'm a total noob to baseball, so I've been trying to pick up some stuff from the first 4 shows. The thing that always makes sports so much more fun for me is having a team to root for. So I'm looking for some advice on which team to support. For basketball, I cheer for Phoenix. In the NFL, I cheer for the Dolphins. I've visited Boston, Seattle, and New York, so I have a few connections already. It's giving us a lay of the land there. I don't want to just jump on a team because they're winners. So what would I need, or what should I cheer for? Rob asking that question there. What do you got for me? Well, Rob, I'm glad you asked this question. Here's another top 5. Top 5 teams to cheer for the rest of the Major League Baseball season.
Top 5, top 5, top 5. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
All right, so off the top, I'm gonna say right here, I'm not gonna give you a team that's out of the playoff race.
Right.
I wouldn't screw Rob like that. And as I've said, expanded playoffs, there's more teams that are sort of in it. More than half the league is still alive. So I'm going to choose one of those teams, or choose 5 of those teams here. I'm trying not to choose front runners. That's not fun.
Right.
But also one notable thing about the expanded playoffs, you get at least a 3-game series with the expanded playoffs. It's not just a single.
Do these count as playoffs, or are these the play-ins? I mean, do they have their own stats? So where
That's
are we going?
That's a good question. I think yes, I'm saying they do.
Right.
Well,
right.
In baseball, they do.
Yeah.
The 3 division leaders plus 3 wild cards. I'm picking 5 teams that have a shot at that, Rob, and some connections for you. So at number 5, the Seattle Mariners. You can rally around this team. Rally around them because they have the longest playoff drought of any team in America.
So-
any American major sport. 2001.
Yeah, and that was the first year I moved to Toronto, and they had they won 116 games that season.
Yeah.
Ichiro's first season there. Lou Piniella was the coach, who's like always he's the old crazy old coach of baseball. And I remember at the time thinking like, this is unbelievable. Like they were setting records, and Ichiro coming over and just being amazing from the start. And then they left. They got crushed by the Yankees in the second. What do you call it? The ALDS.
I think it was the ALDS. Yeah.
And that was really deflating end to the season. But what I couldn't believe was that they had that incredible season and they haven't been back to the playoffs since. That is just wild.
It's been a long time. I see people labeling them as America's team out there right now because everybody wants to get behind them.
Yeah.
And because they also stole from the New York Yankees that they wanted, so you got to cheer for them. They're America's team because they're the anti-Yankees team. They got Luis Castillo at the deadline from the Reds, giving up 3 prospects. The Yankees wanted him. They've got Robbie Ray, a great name, former Blue Jay.
Yeah.
Julio Rodriguez, the 21-year-old sensation. And they're hanging on to a wild card spot right now.
Yeah.
They play at a great field, Safeco Field, formerly T-Mobile Park now. And they're, not one of the front runners. They're 11th on the Athletics MLB Power Rankings list, so you're not cheering for a front runner, but it is a team you can rally around. Great uniforms, great atmosphere.
And it's a professional team in Seattle, which we need one back in the NBA there.
That's a good point.
So, hopefully they can make it back because, as I say, it's weird.
21 years.
Yeah. Just wild that you can have. Because 116 wins is also incredibly unique, isn't it? You very rarely see that many. I know a couple of teams crack 100, but not that many. And wild that they really didn't have a good postseason that year.
Yeah. And wild that, they're worse than the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have made the playoffs. And it's tougher in baseball, obviously.
Yes.
But the Seattle Mariners, America's team at number 5. 4 more teams you should cheer for. This is a big market, but the New York Mets. I think it's fun to cheer for the non-marquee franchise in the city.
So this is the Clippers you're basically going for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets to some degree.
Yeah.
You're cheering for little brother.
Yeah.
And you're cheering against the Yankees in a way if you're cheering for the Mets. So I don't mind that. They're probably the best team on this list. But they're great, with Jacob deGrom returning, Scherzer, Edwin Diaz with the Boss entry song as we just listened to. And they could knock off the Yankees in a World Series, Lee. And
Subway Series of 2000 was Yankees Mets, wasn't it?
Yeah. And you remember those days.
But don't the Mets have a reputation for always blowing unblowable leads? I know it was I can't remember exactly the season, but they had a 7-game lead with 10 games to go, and they lost that, and they just always kind of get in their own way. Again, a little bit of a cursed franchise, making the same comparison there to the Clippers, where it's the Mets always seem to be looking good, and you follow a variety of people on Twitter, and some people are connected to the Mets, and they're always they blew it again. So
yes, they blow it. They haven't won since 1986, when another team blew it in that World Series, but it'd be good to be there for the win if it happens, the Red Sox breaking their curse, the Cubs breaking their curse. The Mets have not won in nearly 40 years, and they're the only team with a player who's appeared on No Bunts, so that's a good thing they've got going for them there. Trevor May was on the show a couple of weeks ago. So you mentioned Kawhi and the Clippers. That's an interesting one because at number 3, we've got the San Diego Padres. Top 5 teams you should be cheering for. Kawhi Leonard, he's going to games and watching the San Diego Padres with his fam. Again, the San Diego Padres team, kind of forgettable in the landscape of Major League Baseball. I'm okay saying that because I listened to the Roundtable on the Athletic MLB show. They said, it's all right. They're a forgettable franchise.
Yeah.
They had Tony Gwynn. Not a lot of success since. They are the hipster team for me, and Kawhi is probably their most famous fan. I'm guessing. I don't know. But, he went to San Diego State. He's there. And they have an electric big 3. I don't know if they call them big 3 in baseball, but I'm calling them big 3 of Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, and Juan Soto. Machado is a very... I call him electric. He's got this huge personality, huge home run to end the game on Tuesday, slap in his chest. He's got so much personality. Fernando Tatis is coming. Juan Soto's probably the quietest of the 3, but I like those 3 Dominican-born players together. They've been in existence since 1969. But have they? I'm not sure. They've never won. So it's a good team to get behind, I think.
Yeah, it would be a nice place to play out there, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
In San Diego, a really nice ballpark out there. But again, I like this top 5 because I do feel some sort of connection to each of these teams so far. Because as I say, the Padres, I thought were a good team because they made the World Series. They have made the playoffs since then, but sort of unremarkable in terms of what they've done. Since then.
They've won one playoff game since 1998.
Yeah.
So, it's when they've gotten in, they've gotten swept. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Most of the time they get swept. And I think, we mentioned the Mariners and the longest drought. I think the Padres are sort of that one team in all of professional sports that have brown and yellow uniforms.
Ooh.
And they can pull it off. I
guess what are the Cavs have got the sort of gold and
but this is more like
it's a brown
this is brown and yellow. This is straight brown and yellow, and that doesn't really happen in professional sports. This color scheme is pulled off. I actually really, really like it, and with the matte helmets, these dudes who are just cool looking guys, and Tatis and Machado. They can pull it off.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're not a bigger team considering where they're located. That'd be a great place to live and to ply your trade out there in San Diego. You're not necessarily in Los Angeles, but you're not far away. You're on the coast.
You're the little brother. Obviously
sure.
Los Angeles, San Francisco as well.
Right.
So, you get beat, but if you can pull off brown and yellows, kudos to you. All right, so it's a couple more teams now. Now we're getting a little close to home. At number 2, it's the Toronto Blue Jays.
Homer. I say as I'm wearing the Blue Jays hat.
There's a Blue Jays pennant behind me. But listen, there's a couple juggernauts in the American League. That's the part about baseball that it kind of sticks in my craw. There's just the haves and the have-nots in baseball, and the Jays they're knocking on the door of the haves in the American League. The Astros have been good for a long time. They now have I think the same record as the New York Yankees. So there are those two teams, but you don't want to cheer for them in the American League, especially with what happened with the Astros and their cheating scandal.
Yes.
But the third best team in the American League is the Toronto Blue Jays. So I think you can cheer for them, No Bunts obviously has the connection there with where this show started, and as we said, no bunts at all because that's how people get hurt. Did you see Blue Jays pitcher Tim Meza a few days ago? There was a bunt, a squeeze play, which is a cool play. I like the squeeze play, but Tim Meza got off the hill to go field the ball. The only move that he had was to grab it with his right hand, which is his glove hand, and then tag the runner who's coming home from third on the squeeze play. But he ran into him and hurt his shoulder on the play. That's why no bunts, no more injuries will happen. But that was a lot of heart by Tim Meza. Hopefully he comes back. You've got Bo Bichette's hair. That man, the shortstop, hit 2 opposite field homers on Tuesday, a 3-run jack, and this is a good tweet. The Jays tweeted, "Flow the lead," because he's got that beautiful flowy hair. And you want to cheer for a team that also hasn't won in a long time.
No. And they got a new bench boss too. That's
Schneider.
Yeah, that would be pretty remarkable if a team was to change coaches and go on and win it all. But I think having lived in Toronto as well, through the days where, it was Buck Martinez was a coach and John Gibbons was a coach as well. Cito Gaston was there, but they were never really even close to the playoffs until we moved down here, remember? And they had that 2 or 3 year run where they made it and it looked great. And that's the thing about like the Blue Jays is the fans do come out and support them. And it's just great to see that they are in the race this far into the season because I remember a few of those years where it was like pretty grim early on from sort of June and July where, no one wanted. I remember Nick Swisher one day just unloading. I was in the Yankees locker room unloading on the Blue Jays fans because they weren't there supporting the team because it was late into the season. They just go and watch hockey out here. That's all they want. But when you do see the Blue Jays successful and winning, and the crowd there, the atmosphere is incredible. So I'm just happy that they are competitive again and able to get in. I hope they can get into the playoffs because it does feel, and you're certainly going to be more qualified than me to talk about this, but it feels that the playoffs, home field advantage is less of an advantage in baseball.
I think so.
Yeah. It's because it really does come down to like each pitch is a battle.
Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like hockey as well.
Yeah,
like, a big goal can just swing a game.
Yeah, and because there's fewer scores as well.
Right.
I mean, I think in basketball, you can run up 20-point, you can go on a 20-point run and things like that. Whereas in baseball, one run, and we saw it last night there with the Yankees and the Mariners, can decide the game. One pitch, one moment, one error. Can
decide it.
Yeah, it really can. Remember that game where Bautista hit that huge home run after was it Kansas City kind of scored on a bit of a bobble play where it ran off the bat, and
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Kansas City. Anyway, those things, the margin for error in baseball is so much smaller than it is in basketball, which we follow more closely. So that's what I feel with baseball. Like every single pitch come playoff time has so much more of a potential impact on the game to be able to swing that game.
Yeah, and the Toronto Blue Jays, they don't have the stadium. I would say they definitely come out for the Jays when they're winning, but it is one of those old stadiums that's sort of labeled like the Rays or the A's.
Yeah,
it's not quite as ugly as those stadiums, but it's a bit of a dated stadium that they're updating.
Well, state of the art when it first opened, wasn't it? The first,
you better believe it.
First retractable roof, but now it's like that's 35 years.
Yeah,
maybe?
It doesn't have it was 89, so that doesn't have it doesn't have that baseball cachet that I mentioned, like the Mariners,
Pittsburgh,
God, yeah. Even Camden Yards. Yeah. Farmer in the Dell, baby. Anyways, still, it is a rockin' stadium. When they have a winning team.
Yep.
And at number one, keeping it real close to home, the Atlanta Braves.
Oh,
yeah. You're cheering for the World Series champions, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't really feel that way.
No.
Especially with what happens in baseball, as we've said. GMs are so calculated with how they look at teams. It's almost Daryl Morey-esque, like the NBA.
Right.
It doesn't even feel like they are on the precipice of winning again.
Yeah.
GMs think, do we have enough talent across the board? Because the best teams do win, but they have a lot of talent. They've signed guys to great contracts. There's the Blue Jays tie. Alex Anthopoulos has signed Austin Riley and Aussie Albies and Acuna and Olsen. They're great. But they're not the Dodgers, which is nice if you're cheering for a team, and they're not the Mets. So I'm not giving you the actual cream of the crop. Yes, they did win the series last year, but I got to give you teams on this list that have a shot, and they are leading the wild card, so they will go into the playoffs. Hopefully, I'm sure. I assume they will. They'll be there, and. Like you said, they knocked off the Dodgers last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can knock off somebody again this year.
Yeah, and with Freddie Freeman now on the Dodgers, that would be quite a juicy matchup in the playoffs because he obviously defected. I mean, he did defect, didn't he?
He defected.
Yeah, to go out there and play for the Dodgers. Having a pretty good season, but considering what happened last season, it'd be great to have a rematch of those two. And also, the Braves, they actually need to win the World Series again because they got to get the celebration right.
Oh, that's a good point.
One of the most hilariously embarrassing things that happened last year was they had two celebrations, the street party celebrations, and there was footage of the bus just hammering through the city, which is not what you see ever at anyone's post-championship celebration. It's this slow, movement of the bus as they go. I mean, we just saw the Warriors do it there where it's plodding along, at less than a mile an hour. Instead, the Braves act as if you've been there before. They just it was like it was a bus that was running late for something and they had to get there. So the Braves owe us a much better street celebration than we got last year.
That's fair. Yeah, they're trying to do two things at the same time. Respect the old stadium along with the new stadium. They messed up.
Yeah.
I think they know that. They've got to rectify that. So hopefully I didn't mess up. There's the top 5 list. If you want to join and jump on the bandwagon here, especially with the Braves where we're living, that'd be a good team to jump on, because I'm sure we'll make it out to a game as a collective and report on it over the next couple months. If you want to have the same team that cheering for as Trey Kirby, who's cheering, or as Zach Harper, other basketball friends, Lang Whitaker, Jared Dent, who appeared in episode 1 of No Bunts with his report on why the Braves will repeat as champs. There's a chance that they could. So that's why I threw them at number 1, even over my Blue Jays at 2, the Padres at 3. Cheered for the hipster team, the Mets and the Mariners, rounding out the top 5 teams you should cheer for the rest of this season. And one comment here I'm seeing, oh, what about my Orioles? The Orioles disrespect from Jason Fire 34. The thing that bothers me about the Orioles, and they've turned it on, is that they didn't go for it at the deadline. And again, it's getting back to this baseball thing where it's all about the numbers, unfortunately, unless you're the Padres really going for it. And you think, oh, we don't have it. They traded Trey Mancini, the guy that's their lifeblood. They traded for him, or they traded him away, I should say, because they didn't think they were good enough. And now they're winning games. So I can't get excited for them unless it's Felix Bautista coming out of the pen. Then I can really get excited for them. But that kind of bothers me about baseball, is that there's not enough teams just trying to do it. But I guess there's a reason for that.
Yeah. I mean, look, honestly, what we need this year is Braves Jays, because it would be great for us,
obviously,
and it would be the 30-year anniversary from when the Jays won their first.
It would be, yeah, good call.
So that'd be quite hilarious if it was a repeat of the '92 World Series where the Jays won it.
Jays Braves, 92, yes. All right, Lee, we got. I knew these lists were going to take too long. I just knew they were going to take too long. But anyways, it's the off season. So feel free. I'm not trying to rush you. Feel free with your next top 5, your top 5 favorite things in baseball.
Top 5, top 5, top 5. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Yes, well, we love a good top 5 here.
Yes, we do.
And when you invited me to come on the show, I was like, I've got to bring something to the table here. I don't just want to be a stooge. I like baseball. And I've been living in North America now for, 16, 17 years, something like that. And I do love the game. I like I say, I'm not going to be sitting down watching, Royals and the White Sox in a 3-game set. I'm not going to be doing that. But playoff baseball, I'll tune in for a game. And just going to a game is a lot of fun. One of my favorite games I ever went to was a Yankees Blue Jays game. It was around Labor Day in 2001 back in Toronto. A friend of mine flew up from New York. He said, let's go to the Yankees and the Blue Jays. It was like 11-8. There was home runs being hit by everyone. Jorge Posada got ejected. It was a matinee game as well, like a 12 o'clock game. He got this great seat. So it's a really, really fun atmosphere. On the flip side, when I got married in 2007, a lot of people flew in from Australia and England, Peru and things like that. And I said, let's go to a baseball game. It's great. I had to sell it a little bit.
Yeah. We
went to an Angels Blue Jays game. It was 1-0.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it went to extras, but I also think the one run was scored on a bases loaded walk. so there was virtually, it was a 0-0 game. And I was there, I was bigging it up to people saying, it's great. You're going to see some home runs. You're going to see some, close plays at the plate. There was none of that. So fortunately, that memory was superseded by our wedding. We had a great wedding. So it was great. But the game itself, not so memorable. But anyway, my number 5 favorite thing about baseball, and I don't know if they do it as much these days, but it's dudes who don't wear gloves when they bat. Like Vladimir Guerrero Sr. is the first guy I think of like that. Jorge Posada, I just mentioned him. He was another one who did it. Because to me, that is just straight up baller style toughness that, we're talking about trying to intimidate a pitcher. For me, if you go out there and you say, I don't even need gloves because I'm just going to go out there and whack this ball. It's not even going to come close to my hands. I think that is just a show of confidence. It kind of reminds me a little bit of old Mac T at the with the Edmonton Oilers not wearing a helmet.
Mac T.
Yeah, like guys just going out there with just bare hands. It's almost such an alpha move, I think, because it's like, I don't need gloves. I'm just going to go out there. But do you see much of that these days?
I don't think anyone does it.
Yeah.
There may be a few, but I hear what you're saying. JD producing the heck out of this show. First of all, seeing Vladdy Guerrero there swinging the bat, it's a good memory seeing Vladdy there. it's good to feel the bat,
Yeah.
right? You feel the wood, you feel
Yeah.
the grains of wood in your hand. You can really become one with the stick.
Yeah.
And it's a real cricket move, right?
Well,
I mean,
no.
they wear gloves like
Yeah,
this,
no,
right?
and see, the funny thing is in cricket, you wear gloves with pads on your fingers because the same thing, the ball's coming in at, 90 miles an hour sometimes. Like, this is the one thing about not wearing gloves. If the ball does hit your gloves in baseball and breaks your finger, it's actually going to be harder to get the glove off than not having gloves. I mean, you can treat it straight away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you got to cut it off.
Yeah. So in cricket, I've never seen a guy not wear gloves playing cricket because
Whoa,
the
I
ball
didn't know
bounces
that.
and moves around. Yeah. So shout out to baseball. That's pretty tough. That's tough guy stuff.
Yeah, listen, when JD produced our best baseball names, he threw out Rance Molyneux as the image. Rance Molyneux. That's a way back playback.
Oh, yeah. Is he still on the Blue Jays calls these days?
Rancey?
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
was.
so.
I remember he was for a while there with with Buck actually. Yeah.
Buck getting healthy.
Yes.
Love Buck on the call.
Oh, yeah.
But Rance, I don't know if he's with. Yeah, but it's special. I think I would be surprised if there's anyone in MLB that does that.
No one's raw dogging the bat, you don't think?
They should. They should. I mean, not in that way, but they should. Yeah.
Okay, at number 4, it's just a straight up guy, Paul Konerko.
Just a straight up guy.
Now, again, the best way when you're a foreigner in another place to get into a sport is to get into fantasy sports because all of a sudden you start realizing who's good, you start getting guys to cheer for. And I had Konerko as a fantasy player in 04, 05. I've played 3 years of fantasy baseball, finished first, third and fourth. Complete fluke. But the thing I love about it is it's almost better to have less knowledge because you just play almost Moneyball style. Like, I need this guy, I need that guy, and it helps. And Paul Konerko, every time I used to check the box score when I'd turn up to work in London, get on the internet, I just remember seeing Konerko homered to deep left, Konerko homered. It felt like he had 100 homers those seasons. He had 40 and 41, and I just loved him. I just, it's like you just feel this connection to a guy like that all of a sudden you become his biggest fan. And that's why I chose this photo here. Thanks, PK. It was towards the end of his career, big White Sox guy there, and they gave him a big shout out. I wanted to say the same thing there to Paul Konerko. Thanks for helping me finish respectably high in my baseball fantasy leagues.
Paul Konerko.
Yeah, great name.
Great name.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have a little quick game of, hey, what about this name?
Sure.
Other guys from my fantasy career, Travis Hafner, big Cleveland Indians guy. He was another big slugger. Rafael Furcal, former Braves here. Jeremy Burnitz. You remember him?
Burnitz?
I think he played for the Mets. Yeah.
Nets.
Yeah.
I don't.
Jeremy, not Jeremy, Jeremy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't know that.
A bit of a weird name there. And then this guy, I still don't quite know how to pronounce his name. I think it is pronounced Sean Figgins, but it's spelt Chone. Like,
Chone.
Yeah. He was more a shortstop, I think, smaller guy. But I used to love fantasy baseball because I was doing good at it through, basically by accident. But I had a few of my guys there. I had the chef one year, Gary Sheffield. I know he's a bit more well known. Mm-hmm. But I once had on my pitching roster, I had Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens. I mean,
stacked.
Crazy.
How did that happen? How did you get Pedro and Roger on the same team?
I had Roger, and someone offered me a Pedro deal. I can't remember who I traded for him, but I knew enough then. I was like, I'm making this deal. So, it was great. You can see how I won and did well. I had a deep staff. I had Livan Hernandez as a closer too. He was great.
I have been desperately searching for the cool story.
Yeah.
I can't find it right now, but I'm going to load it up. Next time you're on the show, Lee.
I'm going deeper. I'm going deeper into my fantasy deeps from 20 years ago, JD. Trust me.
Potential segments, definitely, I have listed down as, let's just name some old baseball players.
Yeah.
It could happen at some point. All right.
Okay, at number 3, old man yells at cloud here, Old Yankee Stadium. Because, listen.
No, it was a great stadium.
I've been there a few times. And last time I went there with my good friend Plug, 2004, I think it was a Yankees-Orioles tilt. Listen, there's just something about Yankee Stadium, the old stadium. You could feel the history and the mystique. And also what I used to love was getting the train up to, I think it's 164th Street there, and all the bars around it. Like the atmosphere. I never understood when there's 81 games how people could get so hyped for just every regular season game. But they did, and it was awesome. The atmosphere was amazing. Now, last year, I was actually in New York for a Independence Day tilt, Yankees and Mets. I got to say, man, and I hope I don't insult any Yankees fans. I hope they don't get too angry here. New Yankee Stadium just doesn't have the same pop.
No.
It just doesn't. It's
fair.
Beautiful. It's magnificently designed, architecturally sound, great to watch from any seat in the house. Not that I went to every seat, but where I was. But it just doesn't have that same feel of old Yankee Stadium. And I don't know if you remember the guy who used to introduce them, the really, really old guy, traditional old guy.
The PA announcer, yeah.
I mean, obviously he passed away, rest in peace, but there was just something about being in Yankee Stadium. And maybe, look, it was a bit of a thing for me coming from Australia, going to New York City and going to a game there. But I just felt last year nowhere near the same level of just ambience in the new Yankee Stadium. As beautiful as it is and expensive as it is,
it's impossible to replicate.
Yeah,
the disgusting food crammed into the crevices of every corner of that stadium. Yeah, the character of that stadium. I've also been to the new Yankee Stadium. I've never gotten to the old one.
Right.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's all big, shiny, and new.
Yeah.
Really stupid expensive for everybody. I imagine it's triple digits for tickets. It's one of those. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't have the same pull.
No. Anyway,
old man yells at club. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean, 100 years from now, maybe the new Yankee Stadium has that. It was around forever.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to replicate.
Okay, at number 2, I have to say, as a basketball fan, I'm pretty jealous of this guy because I think he's got the coolest nickname of virtually any athlete, the Big Hurt. I mean, the Big Hurt, so well earned. Kenny the Hawk Harrelson in Chicago gave him this nickname back in the day because of the pain he inflicted on other pitchers. I mean, big guy, tough, cool, intimidating, and just the best thing about this nickname, well earned. Not a nickname he gave himself, not one that was kind of had to be almost marketed or promoted. It just suited him perfectly. And I loved that when he would come out to the plate there, you could just feel the intimidation of the pitchers because he was such a big guy. And he just seemed to bomb long ball after long ball anytime I saw him. And he played for the Blue Jays briefly. And I went to a game. I went to a game against the Red Sox there. And I saw, I think for the only time in my life, a grand slam. And it came from the Big Hurt. I mean, just perfectly. That's one of those things that I'm so glad I got to see a Big Hurt grand slam, even though it was, it's his sort of Washington Wizards Jordan stage of his career, not his prime, but he could still do it. And he inspired me. My first ever blog attempt, I was the Daily Hurt. It still lives on Bleacher Report, I think, somewhere. I was just the Daily Hurt because I thought, I'm going to try to be like him, inflicting pain on my readers. The Daily Hurt wasn't so much daily in the end. It was probably bi-weekly. But, that's a sort of impact for someone like that he had on me. Not a huge baseball fan, but I was like, man, this guy, that's the sort of nickname you want, where it's just, people want a nickname like that.
It's a great nickname.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. He was, I had forgotten. I remember the Blue Jay years, but he did. Yeah, it wasn't like just bounce around, but it was right at the end.
Yes,
from the White Sox went to the A's.
Yes,
and the Jays, and then went back to the A's real quick. But a Hall of Famer, 2-time MVP, which I had forgotten about there in the early '90s. Yeah, a monster of a man.
Yeah.
A monster of a man. Now he's doing a lot of ads.
He does pop up for. Is he doing stuff with
does stuff with Doug Flutie and stuff? Yeah, the Big Hurt. Over 500 homers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well earned. Okay, number 1, my favorite thing about baseball, and there is a cricket connection here. It has to come down to Albert Pujols, and mainly just his swing. I absolutely just love watching him at the plate because his swing was just so pure and so clean. Like, I was going down a rabbit hole yesterday and the day before looking at just highlights of Albert Pujols, and some of his home runs, like the ball, it's like it's shot out of a cannon off his bat. Like the sound that it makes, like the connection is just spot on. Now, I know there's been some other big hitters like Barry Bonds and Ramirez and those guys, but Pujols, to me, his swing was the cleanest I think I've ever seen. And again, I'm a novice. I haven't gone deep into the greatest swings of all time. But to me, watching him at the plate was one of those things where it's like, I'm watching this guy because I just want to see a home run or see him swing in person there, and it was great. And he reminds me, I think this is probably where a connection comes into cricket, because he reminds me of a very famous Australian cricketer named Adam Gilchrist, who came onto the scene.
JD producing the shit out of this show.
Adam Gilchrist, he came into the Australian team later in his career, but he really changed the way the game was played because he was super, super aggressive. Now, he was a catcher. We call it a wicket keeper. And what they did was, usually a catcher batted lower down the roster. Mm-hmm. But instead, they threw him up to the top of the order, and he really just decided to play the game super aggressive from the start. And some of his hits remind me of Albert Pujols, just so clean and so pure, and the sound that they would make sometimes were incredible. He had some huge innings in England and in India as well, where like it was harder to score, and he would just hit the ball so perfectly out of the center of the bat. And he had that same sort of thing with Pujols, where when he hit it, almost immediately you knew it was like, boom, that's out of the park. And I believe he holds the world record for most sixes, which are technically home runs in Test cricket, because that was just the way he batted. And he was able to bat this cavalier style pretty much throughout his entire career. And
a guy just went for it. I mean, he went.
Yeah, and at times maybe he could have like dialed it back a little bit, but you just knew that was part. It's like a hitter who gets a lot of strikeouts as well. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's either feast or famine.
Yeah.
Not necessarily quite so extreme, but it's like if they hit it, it's gone. But sometimes they would just mistime it or whatever. But
your Joey Vottos.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Rodriguez was like the A-Rod, wasn't he? A bit like that.
Was he?
Was he? I know
he had for average too.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's this era though.
Yeah.
Right now.
The Gilchrist Pujols comparison.
The Gilchrist Pujols.
Yeah,
I love it. I mean,
Pujols is a fantastic name, by the way. It doesn't get enough pop. But yeah, Adam Gilchrist. Because cricket used to be played guys, they would bat, and every now and again you get a guy who'd go for the big hit. Gilchrist basically came out from the start and did that and was successful doing it. And so beautiful swing, lefty. Albert was a righty, but very similar for me.
Yeah, I watched Albert Pujols as his final season here. It is a swing to behold, yes, for sure. Watching him in the home run derby this year, it's even like he's still got it. He's bigger and slower, yeah, and injuries slowed him down. But yeah, here he is in his 40s and still got it. It's a sweet stroke.
Yeah.
But yeah, catchers too. That happens in baseball too. They're not predominantly in the top 4 or 5 of the order. Usually you're deep in the queue.
Benji was a big hitter, wasn't he? Benji Molina, was he? Have I got that right?
Bench?
Yeah. Or Yadi. Maybe Yadi was a better run.
And Yadi's a catcher. Like, Yadi's the defensive catcher. And he's slow. I mean, there's good one. Alejandro Kirk, he's doing it right now for the Jays.
Varitek from the Red Sox.
Jason Varitek.
Yeah.
Can we name some old baseball guys?
But Pujols in his prime years there, I know with the Cardinals. Man, he was awesome to watch. So I know he's back there now, isn't he? Because he left and went to the Angels, and then he went to the Dodgers.
Yeah, everybody goes to the frickin' Dodgers. Yeah. But yeah, he's doing his swan song thing right now, and they're bidding adieu to him. But they look great right now. That could have been a team that you cheer for as well, the St. Louis Cardinals, because they've also popped over the Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central, and the Brewers, a confounding team because they were leading the NL Central and they traded their closer. What? How does that happen? Because they didn't think they could pay him. So I'm kind of cheering for the Cardinals and Albert Pujols as well. So.
Matt Weiner will be too. I think Matt Weiner's from St. Louis. So
let's name some people we worked with. Keith Robinson. Keith Robinson, also from St. Louis, also will be cheering. We've got a cat. You brought up Matt Weiner. We got a new cat. She's a whiner. And my wife yesterday, she said, we should call you Matt. And Danielle said, we should call you Matt because you're a whiner. So that's twice in 2 days a Matt Weiner shout out. Anyways, Matt Weiner, great guy. And Cardinals, I think he's a baseball guy too.
Yeah, he is for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm cheering for Weiner's team, cheering for Keith's team.
Yeah. I don't know what their name of the arena is there, but that's another place I'd love to watch a baseball game. St. Louis feels to me like one of the traditional baseball teams. And again, they've won a few World Series in the last 20 years at least. I know Pujols won one, maybe two. In fact, he left after they won the World Series, which was annoying to me. I hate it when teams do that. Same with Freddie Freeman. Like, stick around, man. Go back to back.
Well, the Freddie Freeman story is that his agent didn't tell him of the final offer from the Atlanta Braves. Yeah. That there was a better offer, but the agent wanted him to go to LA. Yeah. So Freddie immediately fired his agent. Now there's a controversy over that. His agent is suing the media member who came out with that story. But interesting stuff for Freddie. I mean, Freddie cried a billion tears when he came back here to Atlanta. He still loves it. But that would be a good storyline as well. Braves, Dodgers. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. After it, we'll wrap it up. I will give you the top 5 things about being on a softball team. One more top 5 list. One more for you. But a quick break first.
Cults. I'm into. If I see a doc about a cult drop, it's clear the decks, pop the corn. I'm binging them all. That's right. I watched both Nexium docs back to back. Back to back. Why am I talking about cults right now? Because, well, I'm in one. It's called the Cult of Peloton. And I'm all in, baby. It's the instructors. Each one of them is my own personal Svengali. They're so damn good. Let me shout out a couple of them. Christine Dercole. She's a short track, well, not short track, but it's a track cyclist, right? Mm-hmm. And I took a class from her the other day. It was a power zone ride, 45 minutes, and she was all based around a race in a velodrome. So she's talking about the strategy of, each lap, you pour it on, you pull it off. And it was all in power zone. It was interesting, and I was sweating my ass off, and I loved every second of it.
That sounds awesome.
It's great. Emma Lovewell, my kid, my youngest, shredded like abs of steel. And I say, Jackson, what's your secret? Emma Lovewell, he says. You should take some of her classes. This is real. This is actual truth. Every time I walk into this classic factory, he's on the floor over there, hanging out with Emma Lovewell, doing crunches and whatever else she's got going. So I'm going to get on that. But Dennis Morton, he's my guy. He's the cadence king. The guy understands music. He's always locked in on the beat, and I need that. When the chorus hits, that's when you're pouring it on, and I love that about Dennis. And speaking of music, the variety is actually insanely good. Are you in the mood for a 90s hip-hop? To blast out the 90s hip-hop? There's a class for that. You want to belt out some Disney classics? There's a class for that. The other day, I did a 30-minute grunge ride and followed it up with a 10-minute Barbra Streisand cool-down.
What a stack.
It was awesome. I was crying my eyes out by the end of it. But that's okay. I loved it. Motivation. What moves you? Anytime, anywhere, try the Peloton bike or tread risk-free for 30 days. Learn more at onepeloton.com. New members only. Terms apply.
All right, back with No Bunts. I promise not to talk about my softball team too much, but I got to do it now. Just joined a softball team for the first time since I lived in Toronto a long, long time ago. The Rounders, my old team, they have a playoff game this week. Go Rounders. Go get it done, boys. But I got a new team, and fittingly, they're called the Free Agents, like we were called once upon a time, because we're sort of a hodgepodge of people that didn't have our own team, so we called ourselves the Free Agents. So here are the top 5 things I like about playing softball.
Top 5, top 5, top 5. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
All right. The 5th best thing I like about being on a softball team, you have people to share sunflower seeds with. Because when you buy a big bag of sunflower seeds, it's too many. I can't get through them. and my family, I try and get my kids on them. They're not really into it.
Yeah.
They're like 1 or 2 at a time. But they get stale by the time I get through, to like even halfway down the bag. So that's a good thing. I assume I haven't shared any sunflower seeds with my new free agents teammates quite yet.
Yeah.
I had them in my bag yesterday for our practice, but we didn't dig in.
Right.
But I just like the fact that these hopefully will be consumed before they get too stale.
Yeah.
That's my number 5 thing about my favorite thing about being on a softball team.
Yeah, they're kind of gross though as well, aren't they? Because you're spitting.
It's gross.
Yeah. You're spitting stuff everywhere.
And where are you spitting them?
Yeah, you just.
Yeah, listen, part of the reason I didn't pull them out yesterday, I didn't even have one, is because I just didn't know where to spit them.
Yeah.
I just don't want to spit them anywhere.
Nah.
I just don't like it anymore.
Nah, and
no
when
more
you
spitting, no more spitting seeds, there's no more spitting saliva. It's just kind of gross.
Well, when you see someone in the stands and they're just like, and there's just a big pile of gross, seed covers there, it's pretty disgusting.
It is disgusting, yeah. So I might have to return them to the store. At number 4, about the best things about being on a softball team, I have something to talk to my wife about. Listen, the last few years I've been sharing the same roof, the same home with Danielle. So, we run out of things to talk about. It's just fresh. New people. She was asking me, who's on your team? Tell me about this. Yesterday, last night, we got home. This might be number 1. I mean, this could be a lot higher on the list. I just have something to talk about with Danielle.
I bet she looks forward to it as well. It's like,
Yes.
I can't wait to hear what he did at the plate.
Really?
I hope he went 3 for 5. Drove in
so
a
too.
couple.
Did you
great.
go through inning by inning what happened? Your exploits on the field?
Yeah, JD, you're right. You asked, really? You think Danielle will be that interested? I think it might taper off. Like the baseball season, she was excited after practice 1. We haven't even gotten to the games yet. I think she'll be pretty bored after game 1. But
You never know. You never
Probably
know.
just thrilled to have you out of the house.
Yes,
That's what I mean.
God,
And
the separation.
She's
Yeah,
got
some me
to
time.
feign that that excitement, because it's like,
Yeah.
well, if he thinks I'm interested, he's going to be getting out. He's going to be practicing. Tell me more.
I said, yeah, I'm going for going to hit the cages with the team Thursday. She said, yes, get out. And I said, well, maybe I could stay. The kids got to go to bed. She's like, no, why are you asking? Just go. At number 3, the top 5 things about playing on a softball team. It's just nice to be on a team again. This is a sincere one. It is absolutely great to be on a team where we're after the same goals. We're training. We're locked in. We are sleeping, eating right.
Yeah.
We're trying to win this thing. I don't know even if know what we're playing for, but it's just great. It's just great to.
I'm trying not to take this one personally, eh, Lee? Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
thought we were a team here.
Yeah, no, I was about to say other than us. But, running around, giving high fives. We don't really give, well, I guess we do give high fives in here pre-show. But, so many glove slaps yesterday. Just so many. It's,
Butt slaps?
0 so far.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't go way back with these people, JD.
Yeah.
It's also co-ed team,
Okay.
So when do you think
keep
you
the
start
slaps to ourselves?
the butt slaps then? If you need a bit of history, a couple of years, you think? I mean,
No, I think just 1 win.
oh, 1 win. Okay. Yeah.
If it's a consensual butt slap, we'll see. We'll start with somebody I develop a rapport with, and we'll go from there.
And what if you use the glove?
Yeah.
Like it's not a bare hand.
Yeah.
It's like a baseball mitt, sort of little tap on the butt. That's
Yes.
all right.
You sort of,
But still consensual, of course.
But at the end of the game, when you do the sort of crossing over like that, you sort of can do the butt slap sort of motion, can't you? Like that? That happens.
You're saying in the handshake line.
Yeah.
You're if for people who are listening, you do the high five on top, high five on the bottom, and then go in for a butt slap?
Well, because I played some softball in Toronto too, and it felt like it was the high five butt slap. But I probably.
It's a high five, low five. And you shouldn't be slapping butts.
I was getting butt slapped. I was slapping butts. I was getting butt slapped. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Then maybe it was just the Aussie, the horny Aussie. But I was slapping butts, I thought. But
anyway, all right, I'll keep it. I'll keep that in the memory banks. At number 2, the top 5 things about playing a softball team gives me an excuse to go to the cages. Now I wear gloves in the cages because I get sweaty. I'm sweating right
Yeah.
now. There's no way I could hold on to a bat, but it feels, I'm not a golfer.
Right.
I've gone occasionally. I like to go to the driving range, hit some balls, but I like hitting the cages a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse to go rip. So that feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good to go out there.
Well, that's one of those things at a game where you can go to the batting cage and you're trying to hit a few, and it's like 50 miles an hour and they're still skimming off the bat like that. Like
Yeah.
to actually experience what it's like to have to hit a ball coming in at normal baseball speed is virtually impossible. So if you can get someone to throw you a few softballs and you can smack them, feels pretty good.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, even fast pitch softball, it's very, very, very hard to hit, and that's why I'm not taking up baseball again. It's regular softballs. It's regular speed, but you're right, 50 or 60. If you're stepping into the cage,
What's regular speed?
well, that's a good question. I would say there is no such thing as regular speed, but I would say what I would classify as like, baseball overhand. It's like 60-ish.
Okay.
That's fast.
That's fast. Yeah, that is super fast.
We're playing softball. I'm not playing baseball. I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons you play softball, it's inclusive. Everybody can play. I'm not going back the baseball route.
So is the pitcher for you on your team?
No,
Okay.
not in this league. Sometimes it is, depending on the league. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Some people play. There's different rules, but the opposing team pitches, and some people play more direct pitch. Some people play the lob ball way up, but you can't throw it above a certain height because it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's so many rules. I've played mush ball before with bare hands. That was a league. That was fun. No gloves. The ball is a little softer than
Smaller too?
No, it's like it's size of a softball, but
Wow.
Like a grapefruit, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing about
broken fingers all over the place.
yeah.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there.
When I played softball, I had the glove, but my natural instinct for cricket is to go for two hands, and the ball thudded into the glove, and I had my second hand there. I didn't break any fingers, but must have been close because it's a big, heavy ball that comes in there. That's the other thing I don't like about softball. It's the ball's too big and too hard.
It took a while to get used to,
Yeah.
for sure. Last thing here, the best part about being on a softball team, getting to put on an old uniform again. Feel like I'm an athlete. I put on number 19. I got 19 on the free agents.
Right.
That's my number. And I can't wait. I can't wait to put that sleeky polyester on.
Yeah. So you
Real
got
good.
pants and everything, or is it shorts, or wear whatever
Wear whatever bottoms you want. You're supposed to wear pants, though.
Yeah.
So I think I have old baseball pants. I haven't checked.
I'm surprised they still wear belts because cricket you wear pants, but you tie them up inside like a sweatpant.
Yeah.
I'm surprised baseball hasn't sort of adopted because it sort of looks weird with guys putting on a belt to go out and play baseball.
It is interesting. Yeah, it's probably like the only sport that has a belt.
I would think so. Yeah.
I mean, there's martial arts where
Golf,
you'll
I
wear a
suppose,
belt.
technically, but
it's
not like you're not running around like in baseball.
That's true. I mean, you're doing the sliding. Yeah, I guess you're saying you could tie it up with a drawstring instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you see a guy slide. He'll get the dirt in the old underneath the belt, and he'll pull it out.
Yeah.
And clear out the dirt. Yeah, it is interesting. We saw that photo of Juan Soto earlier. A big belt.
Yeah.
Big stinking belts. But yeah, it's part of the uniform.
Yeah.
It's like it's history, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of part of the tradition. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna slip on the bottoms.
Let's see
jammies.
the tops. Look at these.
Oh, here are the
yeah.
tops. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were designed by a teammate of mine.
Zebra.
Yeah. Zebra themed.
Yeah.
Zebra inspired.
It's black and white.
Yeah. We're getting into the cooler season, so it'll be fine.
So you chose number 19, you said?
Yes, I'm a 19.
Any significance behind it?
I always liked Paul Molitor.
Right.
He was my guy.
Right.
So he with the Blue Jays during the winning times, and he wore 19 with the Jays. Although he wore he wore 4 with the Brewers back then. But yeah, I played baseball back then. I got 19. I've just stuck with it since.
Right.
Love it. I just love the number. Everybody's got their little connection. What number would you wear if you were out there?
Probably 87, just for the 87 All-Star game. I mean, that's my default number these days. So
you'd go high, huh? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a...
yeah,
I mean, Judgy does 77.
he's 99, isn't he?
Oh,
what number is it? I've got it right here.
99.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's-
I don't know why I said 77.
Yeah.
He's going for it. There's a guy on my team who's going 3 digits. I forget what I think it's like 047. You know, the jokester who's
Yeah,
put
right,
3 digits
right.
on his back.
Right.
I don't mind it. There's no 69, thankfully, on my team. Not happening.
Someone's got to do it. I mean,
All right, that's it. 5 top 5s. Crushed it. Good job, Leigh. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Make sure this week to tune in to Trey and Graydon on No Breaks. There's a bit of an NBA tie to their wrap-up of the first half of the F1 season. They also compared F1 teams to NBA teams. They did that for a while. There's a clip of that on YouTube if you want to check that out. Make sure you check out Is This Good? With Matty O coming later this week. It'll be the second episode of that. Matty O and the crew in here as well, most of the crew as well. So check out that new podcast and tell us what is good. I'm not sure about the topics. Can you tease one topic on that, JD?
I know one that we didn't get to last week, online grocery shopping, which, yeah, is it good? Tune in to find out.
yeah. I haven't decided yet. I can't.
Well,
I can't tip my hat.
I'm not going to be on the show, so I'll give my opinion.
Okay, let's hear it.
No, it's not good.
Okay.
There's just so many more benefits. Like I was talking about with about Danielle, myself. You got to get out of the house.
Right.
That's such a benefit. I mean, maybe if we're in normal times, I would say that would be one thing you could do at home.
Yeah.
But no, get out and do it. There's a lot of benefits.
Picking your own produce
that's
is
probably-
pretty high up
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm leaning not good too, but again, Leigh, I haven't decided yet.
Two sides to every is this good argument.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just having some nightmares of bruised fruit in my head.
Exactly.
Nobody wants that. Anyways, all right. Tune into those shows. Thank you so much for joining us on No Bunts today. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Sorry to do this, JD, but I've always wanted to. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if we never get back. It's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old.